wanted to talk to you about shopping at thrift stores and giving you some hints and tips to really maximize your dollar at the thrift store. Most of these also apply to yard sales, tag sales, that kind of thing, but this is more specifically for thrift store shopping because I love to shop at thrift stores. I have been a thrift store lover since college. I actually worked at Goodwill in college, my freshman year of college. My good friend and classmate, his dad was the vice president of our region's Goodwill Industries, and he knew I needed a job. So actually my friend Christy and I worked there together, and that's when I really fell in love with thrift stores. But my mom has always been a thrift store shopper, so even before that I was in thrift stores and looking around thrift stores. So me and thrift stores go back a long way, over 25 years. Because I really do have some good money-saving thrift store shopping tips for you so that you can find the things that you really, really like and you can score and save money. So I look at thrift store shopping as a treasure hunt. I am always searching for that hidden treasure that, you know, is my kind of thing. There are certain things that I collect. I love vintage items, meaning items that are 50 years or more older. I love things from mostly the 30s, some 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Those are my periods that I zone in on. So I love things from the 50s, especially, you know, the pink and the poodles and, you know, that really girly Parisian kind of look that they had back then. But I love things like vintage hankies, the printed tablecloths, the souvenir tablecloths, you know, sort of kitschy type things. That's what I'm really drawn to besides the shabby chic. Enamelware, Pyrex, milk glass, those kind of things I'm really into, and that's what I'm usually looking for at the thrift store. I posted last night on my Facebook page about vintage sheets. That's also another thing that I look for at thrift stores. The really pretty, cute, and kitschy patterns of vintage bed sheets. So love it when I can find some of those. And I have actually found them new in the packaging, but from the early 60s, which is an amazing score. So let's get on to the tips. Those are the things I look for. So you have to sort of have a little mental list in your head of what kind of things you're looking for, or you can go in, I mean, be open to anything because you never know what you might see, or, you know, something that will strike your fancy. But, you know, try to keep a mental list and stick to it. I always look for vintage suitcases. You know, there's certain things that are on my mental list that I keep an eye out for. Okay. So the first tip is to find out in your area, when is Senior Day. Senior Day is the day that senior citizens 55 or older can shop half price. So here in South Florida, that's Wednesday. Every thrift store, whether it's Salvation Army, Goodwill, the AmVets thrift store, all of them have their Senior Day on Wednesdays where I live. So I do one of two things. I avoid Wednesdays because I'm not going to get any special deals, or I bring a senior with me. So if you are a senior citizen, definitely go to the thrift stores on Senior Day because you can get like 50% off. It might be different in your area, but here it's 50% off. If you're not a senior, bring a senior with you to save money. So my mom, that's a great time for my mom and I to spend some time together, go shopping, have lunch, you know, that kind of thing. My mom loves thrift stores too. So that is my first tip. Now, if you're not going to be shopping Senior Day, in my area, the best times to shop are Tuesday afternoons when they are fully stocked up, but people aren't really buying a lot because they're waiting for Wednesday, which is Senior Day, or Thursday afternoons, which is the day after Senior Day, but it's given them time to restock the shelves. So I hope that makes sense. So for instance, Thursday mornings are not as good in my area because everything has been kind of wiped out the day before on Senior Day. but Thursday afternoons, they've had time to restock. And at this point, people either already shopped yesterday or they're waiting till Saturday when they have the other big sale of the week. So my favorite days to shop here are Tuesday afternoons and Thursday afternoons. Great times to shop. Also, the day before the big sales day. Here, the big sales happen for everybody on Saturdays. So on Saturdays, you'll go in and certain colors will be 50% off, or the whole store will be 50% off, depending on, which thrift store it is. So Friday afternoons are a great time to shop thrift stores because you may not get the 50% off, but there will be things there that will not be there tomorrow. I personally do not enjoy shopping in large crowds, so I sort of usually try to avoid those Saturday mornings and, those really busy times. Senior days are very busy here in South Florida. I kind of do try to avoid them because I just don't like not being able to move around and that kind of thing. So I love Friday afternoons. If they're having a big sale on Saturday, I will go Friday afternoon because you know what happens? People go in on Friday and they hide stuff. They hide the good stuff so they can come back and get it on Saturday at half price. So that is my second tip. You need to be willing to go in that thrift store, get down and dirty, and search in, under, around, behind, everything. And I will literally get down on my knees and dig. I have no problem with that because when I get home, I will take a really good shower because thrift stores are dirty. So keep that in mind. I always bring hand sanitizer with me too. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. But while I'm there, I have to be not afraid to get down and dirty and get in there and look behind things, look under things, everything, search high and low because people do hide things in anticipation of getting them 50% off the next day. Keep that in mind. Another tip I have, number 3, is at thrift stores, don't haggle because thrift stores are to support a charity. So it's not really the place for haggling because they're just trying to raise money to support either veterans or disabled, something like that. It's not the place for haggling. Yard sales, estate sales, that kind of thing, great for haggling, but don't haggle at the thrift stores because it's just not right. Number 4, make friends with the staff at the thrift store. They have a hard job and, sometimes they're not treated very well. So always be very polite to them, very courteous, be very friendly to them, make friends with them. If you get to know the staff at your thrift stores, they will look out for you. They'll come up to you and say to you, oh, I saw this thing come in. I think you might like it. Really, it goes a long way to be nice. What is the old saying? You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Totally true. You should just be nice anyways. But, no, don't just be fake nice just to get, good on their good side. Always be nice. But it pays to be nice. That's kind of the key there. All right. So tip number 5, inspect everything very carefully. Look for cracks, repairs, breaks, tears, stains, that kind of thing. Really look at the whole, it can be, if you can walk into a thrift store and if you're like me and you like handmade quilts and you're like, oh, I see this quilt and it's gorgeous and I really want it, and you grab it off the hanger and you run it up to the cashier to pay for it, and then you get it home and you realize it's got a huge stain on it that you can't get out. So really try to inspect everything very, very carefully before you purchase it. Also, number 6 is be selective. Just because something is inexpensive doesn't mean you need to buy it. There are a lot of great deals there, but try to keep focused on what you're really looking for and be a little selective. At the same time, if you see something really wonderful that you want, you better snatch it up right then and there because if you go back tomorrow, there's a good chance it'll be gone. So act quickly if you see something that you love. Another tip, number 8, is to, if you have a smartphone, bring it with you. You can Google things. You can look them up on an eBay app. If you want to get an idea of what something is worth or what it is, you're not really quite sure what it is, just Google it. So that's always a good idea. And if you're collecting a certain something, say you're collecting milk glass or Pyrex or enamelware or whatever you're collecting, do some research on it so that you're knowledgeable about what it is that you're collecting. Get to know the different makers and that kind of thing. And if it's something you're interested in, the research will be fun for you. Number 10 is use your imagination. If you see a piece and it looks kind of, picture it. Can you paint it? Can you paper it? Can you alter it? I know you crafters already have this totally in the bag, but it's just worth mentioning. Use your imagination when looking at a piece to see what you can do to make it look better or more suited to you. Okay, things that I avoid at the thrift store. The first thing I avoid, and this is personal preference, I avoid crowds. I avoid the early morning crowds, especially the Saturday morning crowds. It's hard to really get in there and look for things when you're getting elbowed left and right. I don't know what the thrift stores are like in your town, but here they are a madhouse. So there's also a thing, and you can look to see if you have this in your city. Goodwill has, in various locations around the country, outlet stores. Now those places are not for the faint of heart, but everything is sold by the pound. So you go in, and they have these big carts, at least the one here, these big carts that they roll out, and things are either $1 each or by the pound, and you can find some books. The things that you're going to find in the outlet store are going to be a little more damaged than what you'd find in the regular Goodwill stores, because these are things that did not sell in the regular stores. But you can still find some good things. I have found some vintage cookbooks and things like that were really dirt cheap, so I was really happy I went there and tried it on. I suggest arming yourself with some sort of protective gear, because, the people, at least in mine, are extremely pushy. So, the more money you save, I guess the more you have to endure, but, it can be really worth it. So, that's a tip. Number 2 is things that cannot be thoroughly washed. I avoid, personally. I have a very low threshold for skeeviness, so if I can't either throw it in the washing machine on super hot cycle, or the dishwasher, I generally pass it up. If it's a piece of furniture that I can wipe down really well, that's fine. If it's a hard surface type thing, I'm better at that. But for things that are fabric or that kind of thing, shoes, I have a hard time with. I would not buy mattresses from the thrift store. I would not buy pillows at the thrift store, because all I can think about is people's heads that have been on it, sweating on it, or if they had lice, or, you don't know, because it's a thrift store and these things are used. So I personally, as I said, I'm a germaphobe, and I even have a hard time sleeping at nice hotels because I start getting itchy, which is totally psychosomatic, but I start picturing all of the heads and bodies that have laid on the bed, and the sweat, and who knows what else. So I have a hard time in hotels. I don't enjoy them, even really nice, clean ones. Some people are totally okay with stuff like that. My husband, he has no problem. So figure out your skeeviness parameters and work within those parameters. But my thing is, if I can't thoroughly wash it, I don't buy it. Now, some people might think buying vintage sheets is gross, but you can wash the heck out of those things. You can wash them with tons of detergent on a very hot setting, and you can run them through a few times if you want. Really, there's no problem there. I have no problem with that. But things like pillows or stuffed animals that I wouldn't be able to wash thoroughly and still have them retain their original look, I just don't buy them. That's just me. Let's see. The last thing is, you might find an item that you really love, but it is so damaged beyond repair, or it would cost way too much money to repair. It's a good idea to avoid those items. This has happened to me several times where I have purchased, for instance, I purchased this beautiful big cuckoo clock, and it was really cute. It had like the people that come out of the door in a circle dancing and had the bird, and I mean, it was really beautiful, hand painted from Switzerland. And it was, I think it was around $12. I don't have it here now, it's in storage. But I was just like, well, I have to buy this. Well, I knew it was a mess because all these, the coils were coming out of the back, and some of the chains were missing, the weights were missing, that kind of thing. So I took it to a clock repair place, and it was going to cost $200 to repair it. At this point in my life, it's not worth it. I don't need a $200 cuckoo clock. I wanted a $30 cuckoo clock, I'd be okay with, maybe $40. But at this stage in my life, I wasn't willing to invest that kind of money into getting it back in working order. Which is the other thing. If you're buying something that is electrical, make sure you test it at the store. So a lamp or that kind of thing, test it first. I bought the cutest vintage pink hand mixer, electric mixer. I still have it. I use it. I have new mixers, really nice mixers. I use this pink vintage hand mixer because it is so cute and it works. But check, they usually have outlets somewhere in the store where you can plug things in and check them to make sure they work. If not, go up to the front cashier, ask, if it needs a light bulb in order to test it, ask them for a light bulb, ask to plug it in, make sure it works. If the item has a really old cord and you want to be careful, you might want to get it rewired. So keep that in mind too, safety first. But those are basically my thrift store shopping tips. And, as I said, thrift stores are my favorite place. Today is Thursday, so guess what I'm doing this afternoon? I'm going to make the rounds and go to a few thrift stores and hopefully find some goodies to come back here and share with you and show you what I found. And I'll try to find some pictures to attach to this video so you can see some of the things that I've collected. But if you follow my Facebook page or anything, you know that I've moved into this new house this week, so I really don't have everything sorted out and settled yet, so I can't really take a ton of pictures. It's just, comment down below and let me know, and we'll do more of these face-to-face videos discussing different strategies or thrift stores or tag sales, that kind of thing. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.